Gautam, your voice is not audible.
I'm not audible. Hello. Okay. Okay. Shall we start the session?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So before going to the revision, I need to cover two more topics in the accounts payable module. Okay. So we have already seen the deferral account, I mean accruals account in the general journal. Okay. So even we can generate the deferrals through purchase order also. So we will see that concept and we will see the charges concept. Okay. So the charges over here is nothing but, for example, if you are purchasing the goods from a different vendor and he was requesting for the transportation charges, or you are making the insurance on that particular goods or service. Okay, so those are the additional expenses which you will bear. Okay, so how you will record these particular expenses in the 65. So we will see these two concepts. Okay, so the first concept is the deferrals, as we have already seen the journal. So we can schedule the deferrals through the journals, right? So where we will have a deferrals, there is a menu item will be there, and we will select the offset account, and we will do the invoice, right? So at here, we will do the deferrals through purchase order and we will see how we can do that. Okay, so for that, what we will do, we will go to the purchase order. Okay, so for that, I will go to the accounts payable, purchase order, all purchase order. Okay, so at here, let me quickly create one purchase order. So for creation of purchase order, what I will do, I will click on new and I will select the vendor. Okay, so at here I have selected the vendor as Gun Trading LLC, Computer Trading Trading. Okay, I will click on OK. So at here my purchase order has been created. So I will update the line information. So to update the line information, I need to add a line information over here. Either it may be based on the procurement category or based on the item. So let me select the procurement category. Okay, let me select the item. Okay, so at here I have selected the iPhone 12. Okay, so this particular item have, let me see if I have the variant. There is no variant. Okay, so at here I need to select the site and warehouse. So let me update the site and warehouse. So after updating site and warehouse, I will update the unit price for one quantity. So I'm just updating for one quantity itself. So the iPhone cost is 10 lakhs. Okay, I'm just giving a rough example. I have saved the record and I will confirm this particular purchase order. Oh, 1 minute. Let me disable this particular workflow. 1 minute. Let me recreate it or let me use some other purchase order. Okay, so at here I've selected some different product and I have entered the amount and I have clicked on confirm. Okay, so up to here it's straightforward. Uh, you'll do the confirmation. So after that, let me do the product receipt. Okay, so now the purchase order has been confirmed. So let me do the product receipt for this particular purchase order. Okay, so before doing product receipt, so I just want to use the both the case, I mean the charges and even the deferral expenses, how we can do both in one PO. So currently we have created the purchase order. So in this particular purchase order, I need to add the additional fee, okay, or additional charges against this particular purchase order. Either it may be a transportation, either it may be a freight charges, either it may be any other cargo charges or insurance. So which you need to add. So for that, what I will do, I'll go to the purchase tab. Okay. In purchase tab, you can see the maintain charges, allocate charges. So at here, what you will do, you will allocate the charge against the complete purchase order over here. Like for example, if I click on allocate purchase, allocate charges. Okay, so at here it was asking, do you want to allocate the charges on net amount on all the line? So you will select all, allocate on all the line. Okay, so click on allocate. Okay, so you can see at here you are receiving some error message stating that there is no charges are allocated. So what why there is no charges are allocated? The reason behind is, if you go to the maintain charges, okay, so we have nothing has been defined, so that was the reason it is not allocated. Okay, so in the maintain charges, so you will select the charge code. Like for example, I want to allocate uh, freight charges. Okay, freight charges is nothing but the logistic charges, or even you can select the insurance also, like insurance. Okay, so this is the fixed amount, or you want to give based on the percentage. So if it is a fixed amount, so we will enter the amount directly over here. If it is a based on percentage, then you will select based on percentage, or if you have based on pieces level, so like for 100 pieces, the charges will be this much. So you can define in that way. So currently I'm giving as a fixed value. So I will update the value over here as 1000. Okay, as 1000. And after that, if you want to calculate sales tax on this, so you will update this one. So this calculation, how it will calculate, we will see more uh, in future session. Okay, so once I have clicked on save, some information entered invalid, please. Okay. Okay, let me remove this each. Okay, so I have saved this particular record. Now, if I allocate this particular transaction, let me close this particular error messages. Now, if I allocate this particular charges, so what will happen? It will allocate the charges across all the lines that particular 1,000. Okay, now if I go to the purchase order tab and if I click on total, now you can see it will show 10 lakhs. It's showing as 10 lakhs over here. Okay. Mm, charges has been not allocated. So let me reallocate 1 minute. So even if you go to the purchase order distribute amount, it should show that particular line. That allocation 1,000 is there, right? It will show over here. Yeah. Now you can see we have a charges insurance, which we have allocated. This particular line it's not showing in the purchase order level, as I need to reconfirm, I think. Okay. So this is the charge amount line which we have added, allocated to this particular line, all the lines of the purchase order. And you can see the amount is 1,000. Even you can allocate the charges across each line level also. Like for example, I want to allocate the freight charges for this particular line. I can do that. For that, we need to go to the uh, update line. Okay, so 1 minute. Yeah, so you can see under financial, we have the maintain charges. So at here, you will click on this particular maintain charges and you can allocate this particular maintain charges based on the line level also. Okay, so you can allocate charges either on the purchase order level and also you can allocate the charges at the individual line level also. Okay, so there are two ways you can allocate the charges. So let me confirm this particular purchase order first, as we have allocated the charges. Okay, so after allocation of charges, let me receive it. So product receipt. Okay, so let me give the product receipt number as 001. Okay, and let me post the product receipt. Okay, so at here it's giving some error. So let's see what was the error over here. So in message details, it was stating that the combination of 5% group is not available and the fiscal period 2-1 is not open. Okay, so the first one, you can ignore it. as there are sales tax group SR is not valid, it was stating. And the second error message it's giving us the physical period is not open. Okay, so when I say the physical period is not open, in the sense in another tab, okay, now let me navigate to the general ledger module. Okay, under general ledger module, under calendars, we have ledger calendar. Okay, in ledger calendar, if you see for the 2025 February month, okay, 02 period, for USMF, you can see the period status is on hold. Okay, so that was the reason it was giving over here an error message stating that the fiscal period for 2nd Feb, I mean the 1st Feb is not open. Okay, so in this particular error, what we will do, we will go to the ledger calendar, we'll see the period, and we will see the status if it is on hold. So we will change to open. Okay, so we'll change to open and we will save it. And let's do now the product receipt. Okay, you can see the product receipt has been posted successfully. Okay, there is no issue. Now, when I'm doing the invoice, okay, so during the invoice time, my core deferral will comes part. I mean, will be part of this particular deferral. So for that, I'll go to the generate invoice. Okay, in this particular purchase order invoice, so we will update the invoice number as usual. Secondly, if you go to the line level, we have financial. So under financial, we will go to the dispute amount. Okay. In this particular dispute amount, it will show you with the all the financial dimension. So currently you can see it is going to the miscellaneous expenses. Okay. So actually it should go to the some temporary account. Okay. Temporary account in the sense either you can consider as any prepaid expenses. From prepaid expenses, it has to move to the respective actual expenses account. Okay, so how we can configure that? For that, you will click on this particular deferral. Okay, you will make deferral as yes. Okay, so currently it is selected as by default the uh, these particular expenses account. The how it has been selected, it is one because of the posting profile. So for this particular main account, actually it should go to the prepaid insurance account or prepaid expenses account, and from there it has to move. So all the deferrals will be moved in that way. So for that, what we need to do, we need to modify first our expenses account to the prepaid expenses. So how we can modify it? So for that, we need to navigate the posting profile. Okay. So for that, we need to go to the inventory management module. Under inventory management, we have under setup, we have postings and posting. So this is the posting which we will define uh, for all the group level of the items and categories. So this we have seen during the inventory sessions. So we can define all the group level and category level or individual table level. We can define the posting profile over here. Or if you define the posting profile in the item group, so it will automatically populated over here. So this we have discussed during the inventory session. Okay, so in this particular posting tab, so you can see there is a purchase order head. So you will click on this particular purchase order head. Okay. So at here, you can see the cost of purchase of product, purchase expenditure for product. You can see at here, it is defined as uh, one is raw material, another one it is defined as miscellaneous expenses. Okay. So there is a group called consumable. So it was taking the miscellaneous expenses as the purchase expenditure for product. So at here, what I will do, I will add another table. Okay, adding a new record. So at here, I'm using the table, and at here, I'm selecting the respective product. Okay, and I'm giving over here the mapping the main account as prepaid. I have selected prepaid other expenses, and I have saved the record. Now, in this accounting distribution, if I skip this one, okay, let me delete and regenerate the invoice. Okay, now if I go back and regenerate the invoice, so system what it will do, it will take the from the posting profile of this particular table level. As the first priority will be the table level of inside the posting profile, so it will take that particular table level in the my distribution. Okay, let me select manually. The reason why I'm not able to change over here is as we have already done the product receipt. So that was the reason it's not allowing me to change. So I'm changing over here by manually prepaid in other insurance. Okay. So for this particular any difference. So initially either it may be any expenses like mostly you will use this particular deferral in expenses for the prepaid advance expenses or recurring expenses which you will def use to defer. Like for example is one is the insurance, another one is rent, another one if you have any other subscriptions. So for these mostly you will use this particular deferral. I mean mostly you will use the accruals for them, right? So most of the topics will come under this particular ledger account itself. Okay. So at here I have selected the prepaid expenses is my the expenses account for this particular uh, transaction. So after that you will click on deferral. So in this particular deferral, you will map the actual expenditure account. Okay. So when I click on this particular deferral, okay. Now you can see it is stating the functional dimension storage get segment has been incorrectly called. So this particular error message is stating related to the your accounting structure and the dimension segments. So further, let me navigate to the uh, general ledger module, chart of account structure, configuration accounting structure. Okay, so at here you can see we have too many accounting structure. It is very difficult to identify which we have mapped to the respective legal entity USMF. So we will go directly to the uh, ledger ledger setup. Under ledger setup, we have ledger. Okay. So at here, let me select the balance sheet. Okay. You can see balance sheet. It is starting from the 4,000 to 4149. and in P&L it is starting with the same, and in statistical it is X. So you can see we have the accounting distribution. We have the main account starting with 1000 series. Okay. And if you see, we have the three accounting structure which is mapped to this particular uh, legal entity. And if you see all the three accounting structure, like for example, if it is a balance sheet, so if you open the balance sheet, you can see the main account is starting with 4000 series to 4999. Okay. So at here, there is no one series account is available. Secondly, if you see the manufacturing P&L, you can see at here also the same. Okay. And finally, if you see the third one, statistical, at here also you can see it is the same. Okay. It is mentioned the main account starting with X. There is no main account starting with X. So let me change to, and this is in draft status. This is inactive. Okay. So at here, let me change the main account from instead of 4000 series, let me change to 1000 series. Okay. So let me click on edit. So main account in between one, click on apply. Let me activate. Okay. This is done. Okay, so what we will do, we will use the existing same main account itself. So I will tell you how this will work. Okay, in reality. So we have seen the example in deferral example in the journal. So you can imagine this is the prepaid insurance, prepaid other expenses account. Okay, so when you click on the deferral, so what will happen? So this is my temporary account that is prepaid. So it will transport this particular account initially, and from there every month it will recognize to the actual expenses account. So let me select some other expenses account over here. Under instead of miscellaneous, I'm selecting the other miscellaneous account. Okay, now you can see, imagine this is the temporary account, that is nothing but the prepaid insurance or a prepaid other expenses account. So from this particular account, when you book the invoice, then this particular expenses will get debited and your vendor will be credited. Okay, so when you do the monthly wise recognition, so in that case, what will happen? These other expenses will get debit, other miscellaneous expenses account will get debit, and it will credit this particular account. Okay. Now, after selecting the recognition account, you can see consolidated prior period. If you want to consolidate any backdated period is there into one recognition, you can compare, you can make it as yes. If you want to know, you want to post individual ledger wise, you can consider as no. Okay. And schedule from template, you will enable this particular toggle button as yes. Okay, and at here it will ask you to select the deferral template. So already we have defined the deferral template has 12 months, okay, or 18 months. So you will select that particular deferral template and you will specify the start date. So let's imagine I'm specifying the start date, either it may be middle of the month or end of the month. So based on it, it will calculate on the pro rata basis. Like for example, at here I am selecting 22 January, and if I click on preview, so what will happen? So it will calculate based on the pro rata basis, and it segregate the amount equally. Okay, now you can see I have given the start date as 22 Jan. So 22 to Jan to 31st Jan. So they are almost 10 days. Okay. For those 10 days, so this is the amount. And for each individual month, it's calculating, it was splitting the equal amount. Okay. So after defining this, I will click on OK. So what will happen? This particular deferral is applied on this particular accounting distribution. Okay. So once I have clicked on OK, now you can see this deferral checkbox has been checked. It means that our deferral has been successfully applied on this particular line level. Okay. Now let me go a step back. Okay. Now at here, I have already given the invoice number. Okay. If you click on total, you can see the total amount of this particular transaction line. So it's 10 lakhs. Okay. And if you click on post, the transaction will be posted. Okay, now the invoice has been posted. Okay, now if you see over here, uh, let me refresh the screen. Invoice journal. Okay, now if you see this particular transaction voucher, okay, uh, it's not yet populated. Let me see the journal. Let me see our journal batch is running or not. Journal ledger, periodic, sub ledger journal not transferred. Okay, it means it has been transferred. So let me refresh the page. Okay. Now you can see over here we have insurance expenses with 1000. Okay. And if you see the total miscellaneous expenses is 10 lakhs 1000. And if you see the vendor balance is how much? Vendor balance is nothing but the 10 lakhs itself. Okay. So this 1000, how it has been added from the uh, based on based on the charges what we have added. Okay. Even you can add these particular charges during the invoice time also and post the invoice. So how we can add during the invoice level? Let's see. Okay. Let me take any open purchase order which is already received. Okay, let's take this particular purchase order. Samsung China is a vendor name. Okay. Okay, it is invoiced. Yeah. So I have generated the invoice for this particular purchase order number 3104, and I have given the invoice number, some random description. Okay. Now, if I want to apply the charges on this particular vendor during the invoice time, so what I will do, we have a three dots over here. So you will click on this particular three dots. You will go to the financials. Okay. Under financials, you have the maintain charges. So you will click on maintain charges and you will specify the charge code. Like for example, handling fee, it's fixed 2500. Okay. And you will add another charges also, that is installation. This is also fixed 2000. Okay. So now you have given two different charges over here. Okay. So after saving this particular record, and you will distribute amount across all the lines. Okay. So you can see the distribution. So at here the distribution, it will shows the what ledger account it's going to be hit. Okay, if you want to modify, you can modify over there. Now let me go a step back. Now I will allocate the charges. So when I click on allocate on net amount on all the line, allocate all, and I will click on allocate. So now if you see, we have added two different charges during the invoice time. Okay. Now if I go to the view distribution, so what it will show me additionally two more charges. One is the handling fee, another one is the installation. Okay. It will show me both of them. And so when I make the invoice, additionally 4500 will be added to the my expenditure account. Okay. So this is the way of adding the charges during the invoice level. So we have seen the charges adding during the PO level. Now we have seen during the invoice level. Now let's see how we can add the charges after posting the invoice. For example, if you have missed to update the charges on the purchase order invoice, so how we can add this particular charges? Let's see. Okay. Now you can see at here this particular PO has been invoiced. So let me show you in voucher. Okay. So additionally, you can see we have 2000 as miscellaneous expenses. This miscellaneous expenses is for the installation and 2500 for the handling fee. You can see these two rows which I have selected over here. So these two are my charges additionally which I have added during the my invoice level. Okay. Now let me go a step back. So far we have seen we have added the charges during the PO. We have added the charges during the invoice level, and also we have seen how to apply the differential. So we have applied the differential, but how we will do recognition, let me show you that also. So before going to the differential, so let me complete this charges part. Okay. Now I have another scenario where I want to apply the charges post invoice level also. Okay. Now you can see this is PO number 3105. Okay, which is already invoiced. Okay, let me show you that invoice copy. So if I go to the voucher, it's 20,000 is the amount. And you can see at here we don't have any charges. Okay, now I want to apply charges on this particular PO invoice which I have missed it. Okay, so how we will apply? Okay, so for that, what we will do, we will select this particular purchase order and we will go to the invoice journal, and over here you can see there is a charges. Okay, click on this particular charges and click on adjust. You will select the charge code over here. Like for example, I have insurance. So you will select the charge code as insurance and you will specify the amount, or you specify the percentage as, like for example, 5 percentage, and at here you'll select as percentage. Okay. And you will click on OK. So once you have clicked on OK, so what will happen? On the invoice amount, it will calculate the 5 percentage. Now you can see if I go to the voucher, sorry. So if you go to the adjust, as you have defined over here on all the lines, so based on that, what will happen? There will be a charges will be added to this particular invoice, and in voucher it is not reflecting over here. So let's see in the distribution. Let me add one second. PO line level. Okay. Let me show you this particular transaction, why it is not reflecting. I need to do some investigation. Okay. But during the invoice level, we will add the charges in this particular way by clicking on this particular charges, and we will click on adjustment, and we will select the charge code from here. Like for example, if it is insurance, you will select the insurance. Okay. And you will specify the amount. Okay. And you will click on OK. So once you have clicked on OK, the charges will be applied on this particular PO invoice. And if you go to the voucher, that particular voucher will show you that particular 1,000. Okay. So currently that particular 1,000 is not reflecting over here. So let me investigate why it's not showing. Just give me a minute. I need to take one call. హలో చెప్పండి. ఓకే.